When your dog twitches in their sleep, do you know what is actually happening inside their brain? You probably assume it is just a reflex, random muscle activity, a body going through the motions of rest. But scientists who study what happens inside a sleeping brain in both humans and dogs discovered something that makes that assumption very difficult to hold. Your dog is not simply resting when their paws start moving and their eyes flutter behind closed lids. Something is actively happening. And what researchers found is ranks among the quieter but more extraordinary discoveries in the science of the dog-human bond. Most owners watch their dog dream every single night and have no idea what they are actually witnessing. They see a twitching animal. Science sees something far more specific. What researchers found about what dogs dream about and who specifically tends to appear in those dreams, we will get to by the end of this video. And once you hear it, you will never watch your dog sleep quite the same way again. Here is what your dog is actually dreaming about. 1. You might assume that dog dreams, if they exist at all, are simple things. Flickers of sensation, fragments of instinct, not the organized, emotionally weighted experiences that humans have. That assumption seems reasonable, but sleep researchers who tracked brain activity in dogs during rest found something that significantly changes that picture. Dogs go through REM sleep, the same sleep stage in which humans dream. They cycle through it multiple times per night, just as we do. And within that stage, the neural activity is not passive or random. MIT researchers Matthew Wilson and Louie, studying memory consolidation during sleep, discovered that animals in REM show brain activity patterns that directly mirror the patterns recorded while they were awake and navigating an actual environment. The brain was not generating noise. It was replaying specific lived experiences in sequence with the same neural signatures that fired during the original event. The sleeping brain was going back through the day. Dogs show the same mechanism. When your dog enters REM, their brain is not switched off or idling. It is actively running through something, reconstructing something that happened. And here is the important detail. What the brain chooses to reconstruct during sleep is not random. Sleep is a filtering process. Not everything makes it through. Only the things that registered, the things that carried emotional weight during waking hours, get selected for replay. What it revealed about what dogs replay was not a complicated answer. It was a deeply personal one. 2. Your dog does not dream about abstract things. Sleep researchers, studying the relationship between waking experience and dream content, found a consistent pattern. The dreaming brain does not review everything equally. It prioritizes emotionally significant experiences. The events that carried the highest emotional charge during waking hours receive the most processing time during REM. Now, consider what your dog's emotional landscape actually looks like. What carries the highest charge in their day? Not food, not the other dogs they crossed on a walk, not the squirrel they tracked in the yard. Those things hold interest for a dog. But research on canine attachment consistently shows that the most emotionally significant experiences in a dog's life center on their owner. Your arrival, home, your proximity, your attention, your tone, your presence in a room. The emotional intensity that registers in a dog around their owner outweighs most other stimuli by a significant margin. Stanley Coren, a neuropsychologist who has studied dog cognition extensively, stated that dogs almost certainly dream about the daily events of their lives, organized around what matters most to them. And Deirdre Barrett, a sleep researcher at Harvard Medical School, offered a conclusion that is hard to read without feeling something. Dogs most likely dream about their owners, not occasionally, not as one element among many, as the primary subject of what the dreaming brain returns to. Your dog is lying across the room, paws twitching, and the most accurate scientific account of what is happening inside their brain is this: they are somewhere with you. That is not a sentimental reading of ambiguous data. It is what the research, taken together, points toward a brain organized around attachment, and an attachment organized around you. And if that just stopped you for a second, hit like and subscribe. We cover what dog behavior actually means, not what we assume it means. Up next is something most owners see every single night without knowing what they are watching. And once you understand it, The next time your dog twitches in their sleep, you will see it completely differently. 3. You have seen it happen. The paws start paddling. The legs move in a running rhythm. The eyes shift rapidly behind closed lids. Some dogs let out small whimpers. Some wag their tail. Most owners smile and assume their dog is chasing something. But what this physically represents from a neurological standpoint is something more specific than involuntary movement. During REM sleep, the body's motor systems are suppressed. That suppression exists specifically to prevent the sleeper from physically acting out what they are experiencing mentally. Dogs have the same mechanism. When movement breaks through that suppression, when the paws paddle and the legs kick and the tail moves despite the sleeping body, it means the emotional intensity of what is being processed has become strong enough to produce motor responses before the system can contain them. The more your dog moves during sleep, the greater the emotional weight of what their brain is working through at that moment. Which means those nights when your dog is paddling hard and whimpering and wagging their tail in full motion, they are not in a mild or forgettable dream. They are in the middle of something that carries enough emotional significance to activate their entire body. 4. REM depth in dogs is not uniform across every night. Sleep research shows that the complexity and activity level of REM cycles corresponds directly to what happened during the preceding waking period. Dogs who spent the day in high-engagement social situations with their owner present, with sustained interaction, with time that carried emotional content, show measurably more active and more complex REM cycles that same night, compared to dogs who spent equivalent time alone. The brain does not dream equally about all days. It dreams most intensely about the days that carried the most weight. Now hold those two things together. If the most emotionally significant experiences in a dog's waking life center on their owner, and if the sleeping brain prioritizes emotionally charged content for its deepest processing, then the days you spend fully present with your dog, the long walks, the unhurried mornings, the evenings when you were simply in the same room, are the days their sleeping brain returns to most powerfully. Your presence during the day does not end when your dog closes their eyes. It continues for hours in the one space where their brain has nothing else demanding its attention. The day you give your dog, the time you put into being present, none of that disappears. It gets processed. It gets held. They are still with you, in the only way their sleeping biology allows, long after the house has gone quiet. 5. There is one final layer that brings everything together. In human sleep research, scientists established that the hippocampus, the brain region central to forming and consolidating long-term memory, remains highly active during REM sleep. It does not rest during dreaming. It encodes. It converts lived experience into permanent memory. Dogs have a hippocampus. It operates the same way. What this means is that the experiences your dog revisits during REM are not simply being replayed and released. They are being written into long-term memory. The dreams are becoming the permanent record. And if the research on dog attachment and dream content points to one consistent conclusion, it is this. The experiences the sleeping brain most often returns to and most thoroughly encodes are the ones that involve their owner. You are not only part of their waking world, you are part of the architecture of how their brain organizes what matters. Every day spent together, every repetition of your presence, it has been building something that does not go away. Every morning when your dog wakes and immediately searches for you, that instant orientation, that first look, the neurological explanation is not habit. Their brain spent the night consolidating the memories it judged most worth keeping, and you were in them. When the day ends and the body rests and the brain is left to organize itself around what actually matters, it goes back to you. And it has been doing that every single night.